For decades, the name Nicolas Maduro was synonymous with Venezuela's economic collapse and political turmoil. A former bus driver turned foreign minister, vice president, and ultimately president after Hugo Chávez's death in 2013, Maduro's tenure was marked by hyperinflation, repression of political opponents, and the erosion of democratic institutions. Behind that story lay deeper currents, a shadow network of power and profit that would eventually bring him face-to-face with the U.S. justice system. But why would the United States arrest a sitting head of state? The answer lies in a long-running criminal case that began more than a decade ago. In RDEE, U.S. prosecutors in the Southern District of New York filed a federal case later unsealed and expanded, accusing Maduro and senior Venezuelan officials of conspiring with foreign guerrilla groups and violent criminal organizations to traffic massive quantities of cocaine into the United States. Over the years, that indicted group came to include military leaders, family members, and cartel figures. Prosecutors alleged that this narco-terrorism conspiracy enriched Maduro's regime and undermined the rule of law in Venezuela, as Venezuela became a key transit hub for drug shipments bound for U.S. cities. By late 2025, U.S. authorities had gone further. They designated Venezuela's so-called Cartel of the Suns, believed to be intertwined with the state security apparatus and linked to Maduro's inner circle, as a foreign terrorist organization, alleging ties not only to drug trafficking but also to terrorist violence across the hemisphere. Then, in the first days of January 2026, the situation reached an explosive climax. In a dramatic nighttime operation in Caracas by elite U.S. forces, Maduro and his wife, Cilia Flores, were captured and transported to New York. According to U.S. officials, the military action was coordinated with the Department of Justice and intelligence agencies under long-standing arrest warrants. They were taken into federal custody to face charges including narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation, and related weapons offenses, allegations Maduro vehemently denies. The historical backdrop to this legal and military intervention, however, goes beyond narco-trafficking. It reflects years of diplomatic tension between Washington and Caracas, from U.S. recognition of rival opposition leaders during disputed elections, to escalating sanctions and public indictments, to increasingly hostile rhetoric from both sides. Maduro's Venezuela became emblematic for many in the West of authoritarian entrenchment, economic mismanagement, and state corruption. Regionally, the fallout has been swift and polarized. Some governments in Latin America, particularly those aligned with conservative or U.S. interests, saw the operation as a necessary blow against criminal governance. Others condemned it as a blatant violation of Venezuelan sovereignty and international law, worsening fractures within regional organizations and diplomatic circles. Immediate reactions ranged from calls for multilateral oversight to fears of military escalation. Closer to Venezuela, neighboring states like Colombia witnessed renewed debates about border security, migration, and the influence of armed groups. Leaders and presidential candidates underscored the importance of stability but warned that foreign military interventions could ignite wider instability. On the global stage, the operation raised profound questions about sovereignty, legal precedent, and great power intervention. Legal scholars and international law experts have been split. Some argue that prosecuting alleged criminal conduct should transcend diplomatic titles, while others warn that forcibly detaining a sitting president crosses established norms of international relations. This event is now being scrutinized in academic and policy circles as potentially reshaping how powerful states assert extraterritorial jurisdiction over alleged crimes by political leaders. Looking forward, the future dimensions of this saga are unpredictable but consequential. In Venezuela, the power vacuum created by Maduro's arrest has already prompted competing claims to leadership and a fracturing of internal political alignments. Acts of cooperation between the interim authorities and U.S. military and diplomatic leaders hint at a realignment of security and counterdrug priorities, possibly shifting Venezuela's role in hemispheric politics. Internationally, this episode will likely fuel debates over how to balance accountability for alleged criminal behavior with respect for national sovereignty, a tension that sits at the heart of modern geopolitics. The judicial proceedings in New York, the diplomatic reactions across continents, and the evolving political order in Caracas are all chapters in a story that, far from concluding, is shaping the next era of U.S. Latin American relations. In short, it is not just about Venezuela, it would reshape norms around sovereignty and intervention worldwide. While prosecuting alleged transnational crime by powerful leaders reflects a commitment to accountability, arresting a sitting president without broad international consensus would carry severe geopolitical costs. It might strengthen the principle of justice in theory, but risk weakening the principle of sovereignty in practice, a trade-off that could redefine global power politics for years to come.